Shalom. It's Falling Yeshua. Welcome back again to The Rock. I'm going to shoot this video looking at my squash plants because I really like looking at my squash plants. And you see we got some pretty hefty sized squashes in there that are coming in and looking for. These are winter squashes and we'll be eating these all winter. But anyways, you have to be ready for the fight in your life. You cannot be caught unawares. And yes, while I am speaking about what happened in the land called Israel, the geographical location called Israel, and what Hamas did. Now, I am not here to discuss the reasons behind it, or was it right, or was it wrong. You know, I've heard people argue about it, and I have my opinions, but I don't feel like sharing them on what Hamas did. But the one thing that I did learn in all this is you cannot be caught unawares. And in this life, that's what happens to a lot of people. A lot of people are caught unawares. They're not ready. And you have to be ready for the fight, because not only do you not know when the fight will come, but you don't know to what degree it will come. You don't know how bad it will be. And as you saw, you know, one of the first observations I made was a disarmed population you're just waiting to be a victim. Just not being armed, not being trained. And I'm not talking about just being armed. I'm talking about being trained because, you know, in one of the discussions that we have today amongst the so-called two-egg culture is you have a lot of people arguing about what kind of firearm you need for concealed carry, what kind of firearm you need for open carry. And let me tell you, a person with a high point in that situation is better off than a person with nothing. Now, obviously, I would shoot for something higher than a high point, but that's better than somebody who has nothing. What you saw were people who were willing to go to whatever lengths that they had to go to versus people who were running scared and waiting for the authorities to come and save them. You personally have to be ready for the fight. You and your family have to be ready for the fight because, you know, in this world, even in this country, the United States of America, you have a lot of these same types of thinkings. You have people who do not care to victimize other people, and sometimes they feel justified in doing it. And they are hurting people. But in this country, you have an even bigger problem where you have highly emotional people who they're not fighting for what they perceive or what they believe is right. They're doing it because they're willing to hurt people because their feelings got hurt. They got fired from a job. They're not able to have the things they used to have. And that's affecting people. They're going around shooting up places, shooting up things. Gang warfare right now is at an all-time high. Gangs are just shooting it out right now. They're just shooting it out. You have wickedness. You have evil. You have satanic agendas. You have an enemy, Satan, who literally is looking to exploit your lack of readiness at any point in time that he can. He is just seeking whom he may devour, just walking around hoping to find somebody not ready for a fight. And let me tell you, not ready for a fight doesn't matter carrying the right gear. Because you hear a lot of gearheads. You see a lot of gun reviews on YouTube. And what you're finding out is a lot of these people who have the finest gear don't have the warrior type mentality. They don't have that mentality, that way of thinking. You see, a fighter, a warrior, he will use whatever is at his disposal to defend himself and his family. Whether it be a high point or whether it be a Glock. Whether it be a SIG or whether it be a Taurus. He will defend himself, whether it be an AR-15 or whether it be a Mosin Nagant, or Mosin Nagant, depending on how you want to say it. It'll be a 5.56 round or a 7.62 by 54R round. But see, a lot of people have the gear and they don't have the mentality. Then you have the people that don't have the gear and don't have that fighter's mentality. And in today's time, that's what we need. We need people who are willing to defend themselves and their families, because this stuff is happening, not just in that country, but all over the world. All over this world. And again, I am not here to talk about the politics. If you listen to my channel, already you know who I believe, who I know true Israel is. But I digress. So we're in a different time. And you cannot be sitting around waiting for somebody else to react to a threat that you have. Nor because you have the finest, or you have an expensive firearm, are you ready for the fight? When's the last time you trained? When's the last time you trained in any pressurized situation? Or do you just run around with your firearm tucked in your belt? Firearm and it's safe. Firearm, in its gun bag. It's nicely oiled and tuned, but you can tell you don't fire that thing. You know for yourself. More importantly, you know for yourself you are not proficient. Oh, you may know where the ejector is. You may know how to release a mag and how to clear a jam or a stovepipe. You may know how to do those things, but do you know, more importantly, yourself? That's one of the things that I think a lot of people don't know. They claim to be a fighter. They played a whole hell of a lot of Call of Duty, but they don't know themselves, and they don't know how they would react to situations. They can only tell you what somebody else did in their situation, but they can't tell you. See, this stuff is getting so real. And if you are a follower of the Most High Yah, and if you are doing things the way that He says to do it, you have to understand that you have an enemy that is willing to do and go to whatever lengths that he possibly can to take you out. Sure, absolutely stay prayed up. But if you look at our ancestors weren't just prayed up. Believe me, they were warriored up. They were ready for a fight. I was reading a story about Dinah being kidnapped and how the sons of Jacob went to go rescue her. They didn't need to go through a boot camp. They had already gone through boot camp. Story of Maccabees and the fighters. They were already ready for a fight. Israel, going through the wilderness. They were already ready for fights. That meant that they knew how to fight in Egypt. We have to have that mentality. We have to get that back in our minds, especially as men. We have to prepare our families, because you may be, let's just say you slip for a day and you are unaware. Well, having your family aware, having your family, if you're part of a tribe, but more specifically your family, the ones you live immediately with, having somebody else to be able to see something when you may be a little bit off is important. It is a different world. And people are willing to go to different lengths that you never thought you would have to go to. But what you don't want is you don't want it when people are running through your streets for you to try and figure out what you're going to do then. Sure, you might get gunned down in the process, like many of those people in that land did. Even if they had a firearm, many of them, but you still could have protected yourself better. And if you had everybody armed, can you imagine how this would change? You have to keep your eyes open, brothers and sisters. This is not, and no longer can you operate in this passive mindset. It is changing all around us, not just in other countries, but in this country. It is changing all around us. And for some reason, it takes something, so big for it to catch our attention, for us to pull out our firearms, for us to talk to our families about preparedness, for us to, want to go buy an AR-15 or want to go buy a concealed carrier, to get the training that you need, or to buy that ammunition that you've been slacking on buying, so that you can get the training, so you can have the protection. Because you don't want to be out there partying and having a good time, and realize that because you weren't aware and you weren't ready, that your time is now up. Take care of yourselves and your family, those around you, those who are depending on you. Hope you're having a blessed day. Again, nice little shot of some of these squashes. We will be talking about, I had a great tabernacles, but this was just on my heart. It's been something I've been discussing with my family. Well, these cayenne peppers are coming in great. One of my areas where I'm growing some peppers. This is kind of an experimental area this year, and it turned out pretty good. Very fruitful. Anyways, bless y'all. Hope you're having a blessed, I don't know what today is, 4th day. There's another one right there. Please just think on the words that I said and make sure you're ready. Make sure you have that warrior mindset and not that Call of Duty or passive mindset. Shalom.